What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're in a Lexus IS300. It is a 2003 model and is owned by my buddy Will, who showed up to a subscriber meet the other day, and it was a great time. I saw it way in the distance. I'm like, that thing is a clean IS300. Just to come to find out, it has 200,000 miles on it. I had no idea this car had 200,000 miles on it because, one, I don't see a lot of them in white, which is really cool and has this like pearl flake in it. It's a factory color. And two, it's held up extremely well. It really gives off the vibe of that SC300 I reviewed in Florida maybe a year ago, and that one was near completely stock. However, this one's a little bit different. It has Fortunato coilovers, which handle magnificently. It rides super smooth. I always recommend Fortunatos to people who can get them, and you know, they're my friends. I used to live right by them. It's super flat when you go around corners, and it's really hard to express how comfortable the car is when you're doing that. The car is a 2JZ GE VVTi, which means it's non-turbo. It's a naturally aspirated version. However, it still has a good amount of torque. When you get on it just a little bit, I'll go get on it a little bit, makes a really nice sound. It revs all the way to the top of the rev range. This one is an automatic. The actual stick shift version of these cars are really hard to find. And that's why when I saw how clean this one was, you know, how about I do an IS300 that is easier to find and more normal? You know, first, if I ever find a stick version, I'll do that one too. But however, this is the automatic transmission. So one thing I want to talk about the IS is the interior and how it's held up. I don't hear really a single bad creak or rattle in the interior. I'm actually really shocked. Sure, you're gonna get the kind of bumps every now and then with the coilovers, but when it comes to like hearing plastic just kind of jitter or rattle or anything like that, the door panels have this nice kind of suede material on it, and the gauges are this really interesting, like, it looks like a clockmaker made them. Center has like an MPG needle that goes up and down, and then on the outside is your speedometer, and then there's a little bit of digital. So you have this like mix between analog and old school, and then there's a digital gauge for your mileage. So it's kind of that cool hybrid of sorts. Overall, the seating position of the IS300 is really nice. You feel like wherever you're gonna go, it's gonna dart exactly where you want it to go. The car also has a Pexi exhaust with a Megan Racing Y-pipe, so that's why it makes a really good throaty sound. The GE as a commuter engine is one of the best commuter engines out there, because one, it's a 2J. 2Js are awesome, no matter what they are. And second, it's been reliable. It's still going. It's still pretty much the stock motor. He has an engine intake on the car, but that seems like it's about it. In the future though, he wants to do a GTE swap, which is the 2JZ GTE, which is the twin turbo Supra engine, which you could get out of an Aristo from Japan or something like that. And overall, it's plug and play. You can just drop that sucker in. I mean, people do the GS300s all the time. A friend of mine named Chris used to have a VVTi swapped GS300, and the swap was fairly straightforward. You can use pretty much the same harness and everything else. That's usually your biggest setback with engine swaps, is the harness, but when it's a Toyota harness, it all makes sense. I think this car is so cool when people do the GTE swaps, because you see this sedan going down the road and all of a sudden you hear it blow off and you're like, that thing is dope. You can see where there's a lot of influence with the SC300 and the tan interior and everything else. I think it's kind of interesting too that the entire interior isn't tan or isn't black. It's like a half and half. Like the steering wheel and the dash itself is black, but the rest of it's tan. So I thought that was an interesting choice. One really interesting thing about the IS300 with the auto is that it does have a manual mode in it, but it doesn't look like it does. Why? Because it has the up and down buttons on the steering wheel. So the downshift, you could either use your left hand or your right hand, so it's ambidextrous. And then the upshifts are on the back. I was wondering what these were earlier. I thought they were radio controls earlier, but no, it's literally the gearbox. So if I just press down, it just downshifted just like that. You can't really tell. Down again, there we go. And if I slow down, down again. So, and then upshift with the back. You know, when you hit the upshift, there is a tad bit of delay, but nothing to really worry about. Only bad thing is it's easy to get confused, because nowadays it's left to go down, then right to go up. So then we have to go back to the steering wheel. It kind of confuses me, I know. a lot of people always ask me, like, what would be a good first car if you're a performance enthusiast? And the IS is a great contender because it's 4 doors. So your parents, by the way, they can't make that argument. Has 4 doors, has a back seat, which you can fit adults back there. I've seen it done. And it's a very comfortable car. So if you had to give somebody a ride that can't deal with really obnoxious loud car, this is like the best of both worlds. Plus, if you really wanted to swap it, you can swap it. These Fortunato coilovers, though, I cannot express enough. Like, his clearance is actually pretty small, too. He has, like, that much clearance with his fender, with the inky wheels and everything else, but it rubs only occasionally. It doesn't really rub that often, so that's really good to know, too. But he also has this really nice kind of square stance to the car. Another thing, too, is with the NA2J, you get pretty good gas mileage overall. It's a 2003 for an inline 6, and you get about low 20s, so it's really not too shabby. But if you think about it, with the IS300 having the legacy it does, it kind of had this legacy coming from Japan, you know, with the Altezza and everything else, as the 4-door Supra. You know, they didn't really make a true 4-door Supra, and it is the same GE motor for the most part that's in the NA Supra. So you can make that argument if you wanted to. Every time though, guys, if you hit the wrong button at the wrong time, it beeps at you. Drop in my new mixtape. It's so disciplined. Yeah, this was easy. Hit the brakes nosedive just a little bit, but that's really not that big of a deal. So one thing that this car really shines is this car was a 1-owner car when he got it. And the guy was a nurse, and he garage kept it and drove it like a baby. And that just shows it's all about the owner sometimes. If you get a car that was really well taken care of by an owner, it will run forever. If they got their oil changes done, they fixed everything, they made sure to maintain everything, modern cars overall will run a very long time. You know, this car is a like perfect road trip car. I mean, you just cruise around, you don't feel exhausted, it's not too loud. Even with the Y-pipe, there's no drone in the cabin at all. They did so much sound deadening for its time that really quiet. You get on it, you get a nice sound, and then when you're done, you're done. It's discipline. Yeah, the Toyota Trans really handles this really well. Like just cruising along, downshifting, it goes right into gear. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I do car reviews, guys? It just makes me want everything. What is wrong with me? Maybe it's just because I'm addicted to the 2J life now. Always. Even the NA2J I'm addicted to. Bump. Like it was nothing. All right, on that note, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video review. I appreciate it. Huge thanks to Mr. Will for driving out and letting me drive his beautiful IS300. I had a fantastic time. And what do you guys think of the IS300? Do you think they should have been turboed from the factory? Because I do. Thanks for watching this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day.